So as I was telling you guys yesterday, I'm from Texas and it snowed here for the first time in a long time. So I thought I would show you guys what it's like if you're not used to the snow, because I know me personally, I haven't seen snow in a few years. So I've been trying to, get the, I've been trying to get my use out of the snow here because it'll be gone in a few days and I probably won't see it for years. So here, as you guys can see, I'm climbing through this forest in my backyard. Oh, there's actually a creek back here. Let me show you. If I can get up here. There's a creek back there. You can't really see it, but it's back there somewhere. All right, so now back into today's scheduled programming. Hope you guys enjoy the video. All right, guys, so after my little excursion there out in the wilderness, out in the cold, ended up getting some coffee, so I'm a little bit warmer now. Thanks for asking. I'm doing great. So now we're going to go into the actual topic of today's video, and that is this mock draft done by Daniel Jeremiah. Lots of you guys may know who this guy is. If you don't know who he is, he's basically I guess you could say a draft expert. He used to be a scout in the NFL for like 3 different teams, and now he works for the NFL Network covering the NFL draft. And so he recently did his second mock draft, I believe, and of course, with the Packers being in the first round, he ends up picking a player for the Packers. So I'm going to break that down. But if you guys are new here, I put up Packers content 6 days a week. So if you want to see that, feel free to subscribe to the channel down below. So with the 29th pick of the NFL draft, the fake mock draft right here from Daniel Jeremiah, the Packers select offensive tackle from Oklahoma State, Tevin Jenkins. He says, "We saw how much of a toll injuries took on the Packers offensive line in the postseason. Jenkins can play tackle or slide inside if they need him to." And honestly, my first thought about this pick, I honestly like it. I did say, I think I had tackle as like my second highest need in that one video I put out. I put cornerback as the number 1 need for the Packers, but I definitely could see the Packers coming in and drafting an offensive tackle in this draft. Daniel Jeremiah seems to think that as well. Because I think if you just take a look at our entire, offensive line situation, of course we signed David Bakhtiari to that massive extension back in, was it December, was it January? It was sometime a few months ago. Of course he goes down and he's going to be out probably maybe for the first few games. But we have shored him up for the next couple of years with him being, one of the best left tackles in the NFL. It's definitely great to have him on our offensive line. But outside of David Bakhtiari, we have Billy Turner, who's been pretty good. He played a lot during this 2020 season with David Bakhtiari going down as well. And also, of course, we have Rick Wagner. Taking a look at both these guys, Billy Turner was rated 42nd by PFF among tackles in 2020. And then Rick Wagner was ranked, let's see, what's the number? 23rd by PFF in 2020. Of course, we did see Rick Wagner struggle a lot in that NFC Championship game. And I've seen lots of people talking about potentially the Packers cutting him because it'll save the Packers like $4.25 million if we end up cutting Rick Wagner, which I guess could make sense just because we all know our cap situation. We're over the cap. We got to get under the cap, so maybe Rick Wagner's a guy that, gets cut. But who knows, just because of David Bakhtiari's injury, maybe the Packers want to keep Rick Wagner just because they need more depth. So to start the season, we'll probably have Billy Turner at tackle and maybe Rick Wagner if he stays. But outside of those two guys, we don't really have too much more depth at the tackle position. So it definitely makes sense for the Packers to come in and draft this tackle. And even if we did cut Rick Wagner, this could be a guy that could come in from the start and potentially play at right tackle, maybe with Billy Turner starting at left tackle if Bakhtiari can't start in the season. Then when Bakhtiari comes back, either, Tevin Jenkins can learn behind Billy Turner and David Bakhtiari, or maybe Jenkins is good enough to come in right away. So now we take a look at some thoughts that Daniel Jeremiah had to say about him. He says, "Jenkins is a big, powerful right tackle. He is very quick out of his stance in the passing game, and he can cover ground in a hurry. He has no issues kicking out to cover up speed rushers. However, he does have some issues when he has to quickly redirect inside, which leads to some pressures allowed. He has strong, violent hands, but he will get too aggressive at times, which affects his balance." And I was reading that this guy's like 6'6", so he's a massive guy, very, very strong guy, and a lot of people say he can just like pancake people. So I would love to see that if he comes to Green Bay. I would love to see him, pancake block some guys. So Jeremiah continues. He says he absorbs power rushers pretty easily though. He's fun to watch in the run game. He can torque and dump linemen over his nose. He collects a lot of knockdowns. That's awesome. He has the quickness to cut off on the backside, and he's very efficient climbing to the second level. Overall, Jenkins has some balance issues to correct, but I love his size, quickness, and nastiness. I view him as a quality NFL starter at right tackle. And some other draft things I was reading about this guy. Apparently, he spent time at guard as well as tackle, so some people seem to think that he could potentially fill in both of those roles. He has spent more of his time at the tackle position, but maybe he's a guy the Packers could bring in and sort of use him as a Swiss Army knife, sort of like Elgton Jenkins, who has pretty much been able to do anything for the Packers. It would be great to have another guy that can be utilized, in multiple ways, so maybe that's something the Packers could potentially see. And then one really positive thing to see from this guy, so in 2018, 2019, 2020, his 3 years when he was playing college football, he continually progressed. So PFF had him ranked as the 25th best tackle in 2018, the 16th best tackle in 2019, and the 3rd best tackle in 2020. So he's continued to improve his game, and I see no reason why he wouldn't continue to improve his game at the next level. He seems to be a guy that if he's getting better year after year, there's no reason I think his development could continue, especially if he were to come to a Packers team where you have a guy like David Bakhtiari who could probably, teach you a few things, considering he is one of the best tackles. I'd say, the best tackle in the NFL. So as I've told you guys in the past, I honestly barely watch college football at all. So coming into all this draft stuff, I honestly don't know too much what's going on. That's why I started to do research, start to read a lot about some of these different guys. And before coming in, I honestly didn't know who this guy was. And after doing some reading, doing some research, honestly, I would love to see him as a tackle for the Packers. To be able to have a guy we could bring in the first round to potentially pair alongside David Bakhtiari for the next few years. Honestly, that would be great to see, especially if Aaron Rodgers is staying around for years and years to come. We definitely need to, invest in some protection, because if he is getting older over time, we just don't need him taking all those hits. And in the 2020 season, the Packers line did a really good job of protecting Aaron Rodgers for a majority of the season, and I would love to see that continue to happen, because if we can keep a clean pocket back there, of course Aaron Rodgers will play well, but we definitely need him to stay healthy. But those are all my thoughts on Teven Jenkins. I'd be curious to hear your guys' thoughts on Teven Jenkins, and let me know if you guys have any other video suggestions, video ideas, that you guys would like to see in the future. I'm always, open ears. Love to hear whatever you guys have to say. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, make sure you drop a like down below. And if you haven't subscribed, feel free to subscribe to the channel. But thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Dude, my dogs are also enjoying this. As you can see, they're covered in snow, and there's tons of yellow snow. Yeah. What's up, guys? How do you guys enjoy the snow over here? You look a little cold. Were you eating the snowpacker? What do you think? You have your little coat on. That should be good.